Welcome back to The Unknown Angler. Today we're going to tie a Beadhead Flashback pheasant tail. The real nice thing about this fly is if you don't use pheasant tail in it and you just use copper in the back, you've tied a copper john. So that's the kind of technique I'm going to be using. Same thing you do for a copper john, you do for this, except the body isn't pheasant tail, copper wire. Anyway, start out by doing some quick thread wraps up front, and then I like to tuck the copper wire that I'm going to use for a rib neatly underneath the bead. From there, just wrap back to the hook bend, and then you can put in your piece of pheasant tail. Tie the pheasant tail along at the tail and then pull forward. Don't try to tie the tail this length that you want it. That takes a little bit too much accuracy, so it's easier to tie in and then pull forward and get the length of the tail you want. From that point forward, I like to use a nice little, these are electrical clips that you can buy on eBay, you can buy them on Amazon. You can also buy them in your fly tying store. They call them hackle pliers there. They're just a little electrical clips. I love them because they gather all the fibers together and you can spin them quite easily, and that does a really nice job of keeping a neat, very neat body in the back. Once you're done wrapping the body forward, tie it off, cut it off, and then make 4 wraps of copper wire. Yeah, just 4 wraps. You don't need to over rib this. A real quick, easy rib is what you need. Try to keep it even. 4 wraps will do it. Even less, 3 wraps would be fine too. Tie that off. Now we're going to start by tying in the flash. Tie the flash on top as well as you can. I like to just tie it extra long and then grab both ends of the flash and lift up so it sits on top of the hook. From there, on top of that, we tie in a piece of black plastic bag. There's also all kinds of other materials you can buy, but black plastic bags work fine. Remember, you're going to hit this with a little drop of epoxy at the end, and that epoxy will do a real nice job of making sure that becomes a very stable and very hard area on the nymph. Anyway, tie in the plastic bag and then wrap forward and then tie in peacock curls, 4 or 5 in a bunch, and use the same electrical clip that we used before to gather all those pieces together. You see why I like this? The hook's in there. You hook it around the whole piece and then you can gather everything together and then pull it into one bunch. You can then spin the electrical clip and basically it spins the entire piece into a bunch, and it's real easy to work with. It's worth the $3 for that, really. Anyway, you wrap that forward. You can tie that off. Now, the way I like to do the legs is take a full pheasant feather and peel off all the extra underfur, the fuzz at the bottom, and then cut right about where you think the length of the legs. You cut the V out of the top, right about the length of the legs you want to use. Then you tie this in all as one feather, so you're not trying to tie 2 separate bunches on either side of the hook. Then you can pull forward on that and get roughly, probably twice as much fibers for the length of the legs as you want. Then pull the wing case over, that black piece of plastic, and divide them in 2. That's neat because you get the exact same amount on both sides because you've pre-done this. You've cut your V and you've got a nice even pair of legs on the back. Now, once you've done that, you can go ahead and pull those fibers again and get the legs exactly the length you want. Usually I like to leave the legs about the length of the body, right so they run even with the bend in the hook. You can leave them a little longer or even pull them a little shorter. It's up to you. I like to leave them about that. And then you can, it's very easy now to pull over the flash, pull that right over the top, and, holding your thumb down on top of all these materials and pushing them flat as you're doing it really helps with the finished end of the fly. And it also keeps everything centered on top of the hook, including the flash. which tends to run off to either side, and then you have this. Doesn't really matter when you're fishing it, but when you're looking at it, it looks a little off. Anyway, then you can tie all that down. Just do a quick whip finish for the head, and then put a little drop of epoxy on the back. Hit it with your UV light, and there you go. You got a Flashback Pheasant Tail Nymph. These are great all season long. Give them a try.